about all the clip it's on that.
So, which downtown? Okay.
What episode is this?
Al, what episode is this? Don't.
100.
100?
100.
That's embarrassing. Huh? Okay, this is episode 214. No, this is episode 215. Sorry. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode. Are you talking during my intro?
Sorry, the shaved head caught me off guard.
Yeah. Oh, you cut your hair. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 215 of the Sharp Real Estate Group. What's the title of this show?
We haven't come up with a title.
We don't have a title. Yeah, that's fine. Market update.
3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 215. We have the July market update for 2022 for you. Jay, how's the market looking?
We've got the stats. We've got some sprinkled additional details. As usual, I've not memorized the stats.
That's fine. Let me jump in first.
You start. So, we're not going to go into the numbers because the numbers are kind of irrelevant. We're going to go into the sales ratios today. And as we remember, do you remember the buying, neutral, and seller's market percentages?
12, 20, and 20.
12 and 20.
Just 12 and 20.
12 under,
Yeah.
12 to 20, balanced.
Oh yeah, that's right, the range.
And above 20 is a seller's market to keep in mind. So those are the numbers we're going to go to because those highlight absorption of what's actually selling and how many listings and all that sort of stuff's kind of irrelevant. So we'll let you kick that off.
Yes.
Did you memorize it?
And the stats no. Further to that would be,
brain can't.
this is a indicator that's kind of leading the market. Sales to active showing how many properties as a percentage, let's say out of 100 are selling currently on market. So it's just showing the change in the activity, and thus perhaps you can predict to a degree where the prices will be going in the future, as in comparison to say a lagging indicator like the home price index or something like that.
Yeah, so as you know, we don't like to go by year over year. Month over month is interesting, but this, to your point, is the most, I think, relative, accurate information that show the current climate of the market within the last 30 days.
Cool, let's start it off. So downtown attached, 17% absorption, ladies and gentlemen. That's a balanced market. You're in that reference range of the 12 to 20 below.
High balance.
Pretty high balance, yeah, but that could be due to, let's say, affordability. Downtown always just has a pretty solid desire of amenities, and people want to live downtown, so.
Center of the earth.
Yeah, pretty good area. West Side houses, 7%. Pretty solid buyer's market in West Vancouver.
No. We never talk about West Vancouver. You know that.
West Side?
The west side of Vancouver, we do not discuss over the bridge.
Okay.
Ever.
Got it, cool. We'll cut. Going back, sorry. West Side houses, 7% absorption. It's a buyer's market. Jay, that's pretty low, below the 12% threshold for entering a buyer's market. Investors could have your ducks in a row and get ready for some opportunities on detached homes coming up. And that brings us to East Side at 10% absorption, also a buyer's market. Not quite as low as the 7% on West Side houses, but I would stay tuned to see if those numbers change in the coming months.
Yeah, I think this would be a very good time, and we can revisit that or remember this statement after I give the attached percentages, but a very good time to sell condo if you're buying up and get into a house. You're going to have a lot more leverage on buying a house right now, east or west side, than you have had over the last handful of years. But compared to the activity which we're about to go through in the attached market, condos and townhomes, is a lot stronger market right now. So if you are in a position to get out and buy up, had a kid, any of these fun things that we use to justify buying up, need more space, this is the climate of the market that is going to be advantageous for you, which we have not seen for a long time. So you've got a lot of leverage. So just one other caveat that we were discussing earlier about the West Side homes, 126 current listings on the West Side are currently listed over $7.5 million. What do you think about that?
Pretty high price points, so there's probably not a ton of buyers that are qualified within that. So let's say you're looking for a property above 7 mil or a luxury home, and 126 homes come up in your search. What are the chances that if you're the seller of one of those properties that you're going to sell your property? Probably pretty tough right now. 2
of them sold last month, and I think that ranges from 7.5 to 40 million. So there's a big window, but a lot of options, which means a lot of leverage, sir. And that's what we like to see.
Some deals for you guys.
Deals. Okay, attached market. So west side condos and townhouses, 22%. So still seller's market. I think at a peak, we discussed this a couple weeks ago, we were at 60-something%.
Which is insane.
Yeah, which was the highest we'd ever seen. So we're now down to 22. So still a traditionally very strong seller's market. I think this is a reflection of people, if they're not getting their price, are just pulling their property off the market. And buyers are kind of waiting and watching, so there's not a lot of turnover, but...
and also surprisingly less inventory hitting the market than we were expecting, which is
yeah, and people just
numbers as well.
People just aren't seeing what they want numbers-wise, and they're just waiting. But still a seller's market, so there's still enough, obviously, transactions going place, a 22% ratio there, which is interesting. So we are coming down. Does that go into balanced market in the next couple months? Probably, possibly, but not yet. East side attached, 27%.
Pretty
so
strong.
Stronger again. Stuff selling, and it's still, I'd say, strongly in a seller's market at 27. Again, we were seeing much higher, and it's slowly coming down, that a little bit slower towards balanced, but a very healthy seller's market. So again, going back, if you're thinking of buying up, you do have leverage as a seller right now in the condo market, east or west side.
To sell, get what you want, and then have X amount of days, 30, 60, 90 days to look for what you want with, let's say, building inventory because of the low amount of sales, and have the prices moving down towards you as you're shopping.
You've definitely got time on the buy side, and you've got the leverage on the sell side. So perfect
and the
world.
activity on the sell side.
Perfect world. The highest 2 markets, which we don't delve into often on here, North Vancouver, other side of the bridge. Attached market, very popular market over the last 10 years, of course. 41%. So still very, very, very high, strong seller's market for condos and townhouses in North Vancouver. Obviously very desirable, and still very desirable to place money. I'm kind of surprised that it's the top one last month, but it is.
Yeah, my guess would have been downtown in comparison to North Van. How's the supply comparison? Do you think the supply has something to do with it? Just less of the units overall?
Yeah, but it's just there's just more of it being absorbed. So it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised it's that high, but that's how high it is. So North Vancouver takes the cake for the highest, strongest seller's market right now, attached market. Second, a little town that we've never discussed is Tsaweassen at 29%.
The sunniest of all, except for if you're talking about Okanagan and Kelowna, but
that's a fact.
It is a stat. You can Google it, look it up. I think, what is it, like 20% less rain than the lower mainland in Tsaweassen? It's part of the reason why people like to move there.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
No. I think you just made that up.
No, he's nodding, see?
It's true?
Yeah, it's okay.
This is ridiculous.
I got you.
29%.
You didn't memorize that stat, did you, Jim?
29% absorption there, so still very strong, stronger than, of course, all the others in Vancouver, and that's the attached market as well, so condos and townhouses. So North Van, Tsaweassen are the strongest 2 for July. So if you're selling, I think those numbers are, again, slowly trickling down as there's still hesitation in the market with rates. Are they going to continue to go up? I think they will. We'll see next month. But if you're selling, those are the places to have a bit of urgency right now. So those are the stats. We're gonna go into 2 other points of interest.
Bonus points.
Let you start.
Bonus points. A little bit controversial, guys. Vancouver approved social housing project in Tsaweassen, 129 homes. reading the article, reading the comments, people are quite divided on this topic as to perhaps the location of the social housing, and naturally we need it, right? So it's a good thing to be bringing more housing to people of need, but I can understand where people are coming from if they have children going to school.
So it's right across the street from the school?
It's directly across the street from what I believe to be St. Augustine Elementary. Kids walking back and forth. We'll see what kind of activity goes on in the neighborhood once the social housing building is up. What do you think, Jay?
I disagree.
About, how do you disagree? I just offered 2 points.
I don't think it should be going in.
Oh, I see.
There's cheaper land and there's different areas that I think those things should go. So that's a controversial answer. A lot of kickback from, yes, the neighborhood, the NIMBYs, as they like to call them.
What is that? I've never heard that term.
I can't remember what it means now.
NIMBYs.
Not in my backyard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The acronym
So they don't
stands
want-
for
yeah.
not in my backyard.
So they don't want
Interesting.
like densities. There's resistance to that. Big resistance to the social housing stuff. I personally, I think if you're paying the prices that you are to get in over there, that you have a say. I think the funny thing is that the community was lightly consulted with, and then the vote took place. 3 of 9 or whatever it was, council members, I think they're called, voted no, and then the rest voted yes. Personally, I don't think this should be a bureaucratic level decision. I think there should literally be a vote of community members that are paying taxes and using amenities in these neighborhoods to be the final deciding factor. I think that makes the most sense. But that's not how the system works, unfortunately for them. So it's going in, which also leads us to my topic here, is that the BC Housing CEO has just resigned.
Oh, that's right.
So for a few topics. So BC Housing, just for anyone that doesn't know, BC Housing develops, manages, and administers a wide range of subsidized housing options across the province. Also licenses residential builders, administers owner-builder authorizations, and carries out research and education that benefits the residential construction industry, consumers, and the affordable housing sector. So they are the, I think, overall decision makers on subsidized and affordable housing. So the CEO just quit. Shane Ramsey is his name. We're gonna have a little pop quiz at the end of this for you as well, so prepare yourself. But so just some comments on it, which I found kind of interesting. BC Housing CEO Shane Ramsey announced today that he's retiring because of the violence in the downtown east side and recent hostility towards a new supportive housing project in Vancouver's Kitsilano neighborhood. So there was a lot of, he was on site, and there was a lot of, I don't know if you'd say violence, because nothing, I've read somewhere there was a punch. I don't think he got hit. I think someone may have threatened
a lot of
to
emotion.
punch him. A lot of people were pissed off.
Interesting.
On site, so that was that. Ramsey 61 has been head of the Crown Corporation, which has had an operating budget of $2.3 billion since 2000. So that is $109.5 million a year of your money. How do you feel about that? The question is, do you feel it could have been used better? But we don't need to answer that here.
I haven't seen all of the social housing projects. I'd have to actually take a deep dive and look at what's been placed where to have
Chase is going to do a social housing deep dive for next month, and you can come in and you can
the next
give us
video. I'll come break
deep
it down
dive
for
on
you.
social housing, and if $109.5 million has been well spent a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of goddamn tax
audit.
dollars. Yeah.
Social housing audit.
So another quote, I think the shooting on Hastings Street, surrounded by the encampment and during another heat wave, finally did it for me, Ramsey said. I no longer, this is interesting, I no longer have confidence I can solve the complex problems facing us at BC Housing. So that's an interesting aspect. But I found, reading a little bit further, there was a little bit more. Surrounding the encampment during heat wave, blah, blah, blah. The announcement comes after an external Ernst & Young review found problems in the way BC Housing sometimes awards multi-million-dollar housing contracts with little or no documentation on why the decision was made. Give me your 2 cents on that. Just speak freely.
Incentives, inside deals. What's
100%.
What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Follow the money.
At $109.5 million a year, little to no documentation of why decisions were made. So there's some corruption, there's some shadiness, and the pop quiz to top this. So he's been, I think, 20 or 21 years, I think it said, he's been doing this. So I find it, all that aside, I find it interesting that he's said, I no longer have the confidence to solve the complex problems of the cluster F that whole thing is. Yeah, so that's interesting. Now the pop quiz.
And right before that pop quiz, makes me wonder.
Speak freely. Put it on the table, Chase. I want some controversial comments here.
Is that the reason why he's resigning? That he no longer has the confidence? Maybe something spilled? Is there something happening behind the scenes that we don't know about?
This is the thing.
With these,
does he not have the confidence? Is he scared from the backlash of the social housing
or is there
issue? Or is he shady and he's getting caught up in an issue from this external audit that's now found that there's not a lot of accountability for $109.5 million a year being spent? Your money.
I wonder.
Strapping young taxpayer like yourself, just getting drained. It's a shame.
Answer C, lock it in.
The pop quiz. Shane Ramsey, Chief Executive Officer. What was his total compensation package in 2021? What do you think this man got paid? Total compensation.
It's a big budget. Salary?
Total. Salary, benefits,
Under
pension.
the table deals too?
Nope.
No.
That's a whole other world. And other compensation.
Okay, other compensation. So now we're talking donations, because that can spike it up drastically. So,
But compensation still. It's not donation to a party.
Okay,
so
okay.
It's total compensation.
700,000.
No. Jesus goddamn Christ. 395.
395.
Supposed to say like 150 or 200.
It sounded absurd at this point. If someone asks you a question that way, you have to scale up a little bit, right?
You doubled it.
At least I didn't say 100.
395. There you go.
Interesting.
It's not as dramatic anymore because you fucking started at 700. So he's gone. We don't know who's going to replace. All we do know is that is a nice compensation package, and they are entering a cluster of a situation. Interesting that there was the shooting by it highlights in the thing. There was a shooting of the homeless guy downtown by the cops. There was a shooting or a stabbing or something of his neighbor in his building down in Crab Park that he just walked away from the guy, and like within the next few minutes he got stabbed. And then there was that girl that got lit on fire.
I didn't hear about that.
Down on the east side. That's crazy.
Intense.
So yeah, brutal. So I'm guessing the comments for that are saying like, we've tried and we've done what we can. But stuff like this is still going on, which would be quite rattling. And he lives right down there. He lives obviously in those lofts that he looks over Crab Park was the story. So he's in the heart of it. But anyway.
Hard to say. Maybe it's not a problem that you can solve, right? Like if it's not something that you can solve,
solvable, but it's not willing.
You have to actively manage it the best you can, and maybe that's your role. Your job isn't to solve the problem; it's to actively manage best you can.
Extractions,
right? And if you're making $400,000 for that,
it's a lot of money. The average income in the country is 60.
But it's probably not the first time he's seen something like that.
Well, if he lives down there, of course not. Of course.
So,
but again,
either you're fed up because you've had enough of it, or there's something else going on.
Of these reasons, what was is it a collective, okay, I'm done, or was it like, okay, this is the reason, but we're going to add some other layers just to make it cloud the waters there?
Could be something's happening behind the scenes.
There's always something.
I need to step down. let's pick a couple things that happened recently in the media and highlight them as the reason I'm stepping down. And because of the nature of the business, there's always going to be something to highlight because something happens every month.
Especially when there's $109.5 million of taxpayers' dollars not accounted for.
Going
It's got a
somewhere.
Trudeau-esque government.
Yeah.
Anyway, no more politics. That's what we have this week. Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for
That's
the
it?
August social audit.
Nothing else.
No?
Don't
Do
want
you?
to add anything? You got the attention of the people? Nothing?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Call to action.
Call to action.
Ladies and
Like and
gentlemen.
subscribe.
Like, subscribe. If you're wondering how to navigate the changing market in these current times, feel free to give us a shout. Chase Nelson Murray, Jay McKinnis, Sharp Real Estate Group. We're happy to have the conversation with you and see where we can go.
Yeah, and the biggest thing I think people, to a couple of the points and clients you've been talking to this past week, is if you want to know in this changing market what your property is worth, it's easy to put a CMA together, get a snapshot of what you'd be worth today. If you're thinking of doing something or not maybe right now, always something we're happy to do, put a snapshot together, a CMA, and how we would obviously advertise the property, but more importantly, what your numbers are looking like right now in these interesting times. Thank you for your attention. See you at 216.
Just slap your own forehead.
That's the out. What's your
slap
out?
yourself.
What's your like? That's my thing. What's your thing?
Thank you for the attention. See you next month.
So half I'm lying and then half.
Yeah. Just copying you.